Just as sort of a bit of context and background, Teneo, for the last couple of years, has done these global surveys at the end of the year, looking into the following year as well. And what we tend to do is survey about 300 CEOs, key decision makers, et cetera, about the year ahead, what they're looking for, what's on the risk agenda, what's on their agenda, what's keeping them awake at night as well. And so this year we decided we would do something similar, particularly for the GCC, and we surveyed close to 500 decision makers across the GCC in terms of looking at the second half of this year and what they're saying. And as you say, the top line figure that came out of that survey is that 65% of them quite optimistic, quite bullish about the second half of this year, potentially even going into next year as well. In terms of your question about what's sort of driving that, one sort of key nugget that came out of the survey is a very positive sentiment towards the GCC national transformation plans that have taken place over the past couple of years. And in particular, we saw hit rates of 90% from countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia in terms of the positive sentiment that they thought the influence and the positive impact that these national transformation plans were having on their economies. And that is driving a lot of this sentiment as well, apart from the other factors in terms of, oil prices being quite high at the moment as well, and the general good economic environment of the Gulf.
Nick, one of the other fascinating insights here was that over a quarter of decision makers that Teneo has spoken to say they feel unprepared for geopolitical risk. And I want you to unpack that for me. What impact do you think this is having on foreign investment and business operations in the GCC in particular?
Yeah, so apart from the positive headlines we saw, there's also a couple of risks that are on the agenda for these decision makers as well. And the geopolitical risk, while you would expect that geopolitical risk might be slightly higher in the region, given the sort of the geopolitical volatility that we see in the broader region and within the GCC, it's not as high as some other risk factors as well, such as cyber attacks. But, as you said there, it is still on the agenda, geopolitical risk. Obviously, it's on the agenda for every single decision maker geopolitically or globally, and also in this region as well. But again, 25% of the respondents said, despite the fact that they're aware of the risk and that it is high on the agenda, that they're still unprepared for it as well. Another key risk, though, that was even higher than geopolitical risk that came out of the survey was, as I said, the risk of cyber attack again, which was quite surprising, I felt anyway, is that I didn't think it would be as high up. But it is. And again, approximately 25% of respondents saying that they're unprepared for cyber.